Week 13 recap in the NFL plus Monday Night Football with the Cleveland Browns and the Denver Broncos. Welcome to the FTN Fantasy Schatz and Tanier NFL podcast for Monday, December 2nd, 2024. We are here in December already. I am Aaron Schatz. You know me as the DVOA guy from FTN. He is Mike Tanier. You follow his Substack at miketanier.substack.com. Yes, we are in December. Were you going to say something about how time flies?
I can feel it because it's about 45 degrees in my office right now.
Oh, get some heat, dude. If you're watching us live, which you know we do at 11 a.m. Eastern on Mondays and Thursdays, you can make comments and ask questions as we talk about Week 13. And don't forget about our sponsor, which is Underdog Fantasy. It is the easiest place to play fantasy sports and the fastest growing app in the industry. And Underdog offers a new customer FTN special with up to $1,000 on your first-time deposit. Just head over to Underdog for a deposit match of up to $1,000 when you use the code FTN. That is up to $1,000 extra. NFL season is in full swing, and there is no one better to celebrate with than Underdog Fantasy. So, how about them Eagles? Must have been pretty good in the sports bar where you were. People must have been pretty psyched about that very strong performance.
I was talking with some people this morning and trying to take the temperature of the local fatalism and doomerism, and it's gone. People have bought in. The fans have bought into this Eagles team. I saw a thing. The Bengals, the Ravens, and the Commanders are all in like the top 5 in scoring this year. Eagles have held all 3 of those teams under 20 points.
Yeah, the Eagles' defense was not great for the first few games.
Right.
And then since the bye week, it's been number 1.
Yes.
So I was a little surprised that the Eagles did not, but they didn't limit the Ravens as much as I thought.
Right.
So they didn't move to number 1 in defensive DVOA, but they are number 1 in weighted defense because of the fact that since the bye week, they've been so strong. I mean, actually, they weren't so great in the first week after the bye, and then since then, it's just been dominant performance after dominant performance by that defense. So in the weighted defense, they are the best defense in the league right
Who's number 1 in defense? The Lions? The
Minnesota still.
Vikings. And they had a strong defensive performance overall. Well, they kept the Cardinals out of the end zone, which is pretty much what they had to do.
And the Lions are like 2, but I mean, who do the Lions have left?
I don't know. We'll talk about Monday night. Hammer the Packers on Thursday night. The Lions, they'll get some of these guys back. They're going to get Pascal back and some of these other guys. Rodriguez is out for the year. I don't know Carlton Davis's status. I don't know.
They signed Quan Alexander off of somebody's practice squad to come in and replace Rodriguez.
Quan Alexander's going to play for all 32 teams at some point, I think. But yeah, look for the Packers there because they are out of dudes, at least, especially for a Thursday night game.
The surprising thing about the Ravens was that they didn't lose this game with a lot of penalties.
No, they only had like 3 or 4 penalties.
In fact, driving home from Gillette, I was listening to the Eagles feed of the broadcast. And what's his name?
Merrill Reese?
Sorry, what?
Merrill Reese?
Yeah, Merrill Reese was like, oh, what a shock. They flagged the Ravens. It looks like the Ravens can do things wrong. And I'm like, Merrill, did you watch any tape of other Ravens games before you broadcast this? Like all season long, the Ravens have been penalized. This was a shocking exception that the Ravens did not get penalized a lot in this game.
No, they did not get penalized a lot. They did not have a turnover situation. Justin Tucker.
I don't know what to do at this point. They cannot go into the playoffs with him as the kicker. They can't.
Right.
I realized that at this point, you're like, what do you get to replace him?
Right.
But he's clearly, it's in his head. Like, it's just a real problem.
He's either complete toast or it's so deep in his head right now that you can't expect him to pull out of it in the next couple of weeks. That was part of it. The Ravens offense just went flat for several series in a row. Strong at the beginning of the game. Second quarter just kind of disappeared for a while. And then in the fourth quarter until the silly drive just kind of got shut down. Credit to Vic Fangio, credit to Nolan Smith, Zach Baum. They were taking away a lot of the things that Lamar Jackson wants to do. Wasn't getting his running lanes. Trying to dump the ball in the flat to Justice Hill. Baum would be on him in a heartbeat to turn what looked like it could be a significant gain to a gain of 1 or 2 or 3. forcing the Ravens to punt and giving the Eagles offense a chance to get itself together because it didn't look good at the beginning of the game.
And of course, this game is going to really stir up the whole Saquon Barkley can a running back win MVP discussion. Watching the first half of the game, I did not come away saying Saquon Barkley should be in the MVP conversation. Right. Watching the first half of that game, I came away saying, oh my God, Landon Dickerson. Oh my God, Mekhi Becton. Look at these holes, Lane Johnson.
Right.
Look at these holes that Saquon is getting against a really good run defense. And he's getting 8 or 9 yards without being touched. Like, look at these holes. Like, I just came away with just such a appreciation of the offensive line. Now, the second half had like the 25-yard touchdown, which was much more Barkley doing it himself rather than the offensive line. But, if we assume, let's just talk about who's the best running back this year, right? Mm-hmm. DVOA in rushing value has Henry, Barkley, and Gibbs all about tied until you apply the opponent adjustment. And then the fact is Barkley has had an easy schedule.
Okay.
And I do think that Gibbs he's depending on the offensive line even more than Barkley and Henry.
Yes.
And if you ask me right now, who's offensive player of the year?
Okay.
I would give it to Barkley because he has receiving value that Derrick Henry does not.
He has receiving value, and he's done these things where he has closed the game out for the Eagles, where he's delivered that big play that gave them the breathing room they needed. So many plays like yesterday's where it's like, things aren't going well on offense. Here's the 25-yard touchdown after a 15-yard run to set it up, and now you have the breathing room you need. Now,
yeah, Useful Title points out that Saquon in the fourth quarter is the difference. Yeah, if you want to give points for clutch for fourth quarter of close games, Barkley gets extra points for that. There's no question.
Right, but I'll be podcasting with Matt Lombardo tomorrow with all of his Penn State Nittany Lions stuff in the background behind us, and he will be pounding the table for Saquon for MVP. And I'm not totally against it, but I just saw Josh Allen in the snow lead a 35-10 blowout, looking like he was not affected by snow or snow turned into the Krampus or something like that. My takeaway from this weekend isn't, well, Saquon Barkley's the MVP. It's Josh Allen's the MVP.
I mean, I still feel like Lamar has just been ahead of everybody else this year.
After yesterday?
Everybody has a bad game during the season. Allen had a couple of bad games. Here's the amazing thing. Allen is not second in passing value. Joe Burrow is.
Well, he's got to be, because otherwise that team will lose by 30.
But, I mean, I think you've got to give Allen a little extra credit for doing it in the snow.
Rushing value.
And his rushing value, of course, is fantastic. And his receiving value.
Yes. And the snow. And you look at the schedule and the fact that they win the games.
I mean, listen, if the AP wanted to clarify the MVP award by saying you should give it to the player who is the best at his position, then I would definitely have to consider Barkley and Henry for the award.
Right. But that's not it. It's never been it. By the way, just the official numbers right now so people have a sense of it. Josh Allen for MVP is minus 225. Saquon is plus 350. Lamar Jackson is plus 900. Maybe that'll change since Aaron is now on the record, still being in camp Lamar Jackson. And then you have Jared Goff plus 1,200. Mahomes plus 2,800. Jalen Hurts plus 6,000. So, it's Josh Allen's to lose right now.
Yeah, I just can't imagine voting for Goff. I know his numbers and the completion percentage is so good, but there's just more to passing than completion percentage. And the idea of picking Goff over either Allen or Jackson at this point seems wild to me. Like, I totally understand the case for Allen and I totally understand the case for Barkley, but I don't understand the case for Goff.
No. Goff would have to be in a situation where the season was playing out different. And you've got a Buffalo Bills team that just clinched. You clinched with 5 games left to play. It's like there's not much else to say about what they've done.
Yeah. Hitchhiker's Pie must have downloaded the latest stats workbook. If you look at adjusted DYAR, which gives more value to rushing, Lamar Jackson is 660 ahead of Burrow, with Kyler Murray third, and Josh Allen basically tied for third with Kyler Murray.
Right. I love how Hitchhiker has the DER before you do.
No, I have it. He just downloaded it and added it together. How many screens can I have while I'm podcasting, my friend? The Ravens are now 35% to win the division. They just have an easier remaining schedule. Their schedule remaining as 25th, whereas the Steelers is 11th. And the remaining game between the two teams is in Baltimore.
That's right. The Ravens.
So the Steelers are still favored to win that division, but the Ravens still have about a 1-3 shot.
Right. They get at Giants after their bye in 2 weeks. Then, the Steelers game is in Baltimore. At Texans, that seems like it should be a win, but the Texans might be – actually, the Texans might have clinched the division by then. They might not be playing for much. And then they wrap things up hosting the Cleveland Browns.
Let's go back to the Thursday, Friday. I just want to talk about the Chiefs winning in the dumbest way possible. I was not online, so I was not on the social medias to post about this. But when I saw what had happened, I was at my brother's for a Thanksgiving celebration. When I saw how the game ended, that is the dumbest way to lose a game. A botched snap. The Chiefs did nothing. The Chiefs just stood there and watched the Raiders hand them the game.
Right. When they were in field goal range. They didn't have to snap that ball, honestly.
No, they didn't. I understand. So I understand the idea that you want to always get closer for the field goal because every yard matters.
Yep.
But to me, it would be like you have to throw like a 3-yard out because they didn't have timeouts.
Right.
You're only getting 3 or 4 yards closer there. But that was just the Chiefs are now, they had a 17% post-game win expectancy for that game. But they won it. And they are now 12th in DVOA and 14th in weighted at 11-1.
And
we all still think they're going to be better than this come the playoffs. But is better than this still good enough to beat Buffalo?
Or the Steelers or the Ravens, they are very vulnerable late in games to letting opponents come back on them. And you posted it. They're like the third worst 11-1 team in history.
Second worst 11-1 team behind the behind the 2012 Falcons and narrowly ahead of the Broncos of like 1988 or 4 or something.
Right. And those three teams were like it, and then all the other teams afterwards were not bad 11-1 teams. They had DVOA around 20% or 22%.
Right. Those are Super Bowl contenders.
Right. Those were Super Bowl contenders that just didn't have like superlative DVOA. And then there are these three teams that should have been about 7-4 teams. I just watching that game and watching the Chiefs get down to the 6-yard line and run like a shovel pass and like this elaborate throw into the end zone, and then watching Patrick Mahomes take a sack. It's like, you can't play like this anymore. You can't think that you're just so superior to the other teams that you can run jump and things like that. The Chiefs have to do the things that normal teams have to do. They have to run the ball when they have the lead. They can't tee off on blitzes when they're leading and give up these big plays. They've been doing it routinely. They did it against the Raiders. They did it against the Panthers. It's going to bite them in the butt, and it could very well bite them in the butt. I mean, imagine doing that to Russell Wilson in the playoffs and giving him a chance to launch a bomb to Pickens.
And we're talking now about getting Hollywood Brown back for the last week or two of the regular season. Does that dramatically transform the offense, though? Like, left tackle is a problem, right? Yes. Like Donovan Smith now is playing. He just came off his couch.
DJ Humphries.
Kingsley Sumatea is not good enough to play, and Morris has had injuries, and
they moved a guard out to tackle, moved a student out to tackle for a while. And in terms of the receivers, we've been waiting all season. Worthy is not quite connected with Mahomes. I mean, when they go to the deep shot, it's like slightly out of sync. How long is it going to take Hollywood Brown to really connect with Mahomes? They haven't played together in months.
No, I mean, to give a good example of how hard it is to connect with a new receiver, watch when Baltimore throws to Deontay Johnson.
Oh, I forgot they had him.
Like, they're really not on the same page. Like, it takes time.
Right.
So I feel like the Chiefs can pull out one of these ridiculous wins. If let's say they do win the number 1 seed. So they only have to play 3 games to win a title.
Yes.
I feel like they can pull out one of these ridiculous wins.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to imagine they're going to pull out 3 of them.
And if they have to go into Buffalo, they're not winning in Buffalo.
Yeah, and we now have Buffalo favored for the number 1 seed.
Oh, wow.
Because the difference in DVOA is so strong between the two teams that we just see Kansas City much more likely to lose a game the rest of the way.
And the only real challenge, like Buffalo has Detroit in 2 weeks.
Yes.
But I think they end with Jets, Patriots, Jets, or Patriots, Jets.
They have Patriots twice.
Okay, yeah. So it's all lined up for them to just cruise in those last couple of games. And the Chiefs don't have a tough schedule moving forward either, but I think there's more challenges than that.
Well, they keep having these games against teams like Carolina, right? So, like, right now, I would have to favor the Chargers next week.
What, to win the division?
No, to win in the game. The Chargers are the Chiefs' next opponent.
I have a hard time favoring the Chargers. I mean, they needed a 4-interception meltdown against the Falcons yesterday. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm not taking the points and the Chiefs like ever. Laying the points.
Yeah, 13 or something was the Raiders was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that was money in the bank. I should have hit that, but I didn't. But that was schmuck bait.
Speaking of reverse post-game win expectancies, the Chargers had a 3.4% post-game win expectancy. That is the lowest of any winning team this season.
Wow.
Even though DVOA obviously charges the Falcons for the 4 interceptions,
right?
The fact is that the Falcons had something like 200 more yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was also, they had 2 penalties.
Really?
To 8 for the Chargers.
Huh.
And the Chargers pulled out the win anyway.
There must have been very few penalties because it was a very quick game. But all 4 of the interceptions were when the Falcons were driving. They were all somewhat deep in their territory. One of them is a pick 6, which obviously turns things around. Was that the only touchdown for the Chargers? Was the pick 6?
I think no, because the game was 17-13, wasn't it? So
yes,
probably had another touchdown.
But Chargers kept going into scoring position, taking the sack, committing the penalty, settling for 3 or punting. And again, I'm a Justin Herbert skeptic, but their running game, like their commitment,
especially with Dobbins hurt,
right, and they're so committed to it. It's like the Big Ten, and it's like you might as well let Justin Herbert go out there and throw the ball if you're going to do a waste pitch and set up 2nd and 8 every time.
So it was a big week for reverse post-game win expectancy. Chargers at 3%.
Wow.
Chiefs at 17%. Colts at 42%.
Oh, they were. The Patriots made so many mistakes and gave up
so many holding penalties. Do you like holding penalties? This was the game for you. The Patriots cannot stop holding. I got to tell you, I think Drake May is the real deal.
Yeah,
I may be smoking the fan catnip, but I feel like if they can build an average offensive line for next year, this could be a really exciting to watch team with a top 10 offense and a bottom 5 defense.
You need a playmaker or 2 in that offense, but May had a great game. They got to hold. They can keep them healthy. But I like when they got to the 1-yard line and went back-to-back holding penalties. That was the low light of that game.
And May had an interception that was totally not his fault that Hunter Henry couldn't hold on to and bounced and rolled off him into the hands of a guy from the Colts. And when the Colts were driving on that last drive, you were like, they've got to go for 2 here. They have to go for 2. If you have Anthony Richardson as your quarterback,
right,
you should frankly always go for 2.
Right.
Because the run threat from Anthony Richardson is such that I've got to imagine that with Anthony Richardson as your quarterback, that you're going to hit 60% or more of 2-point conversions.
Right, and that's what they did. And they also got the touchdown before that. And I like the idea that they simplify at the goal line. And it's Richardson and it's Taylor and it's the threat of Richardson, even if he's just handing off to Taylor. And they got it done at the end. But they were bad for most of that game. And the Patriots didn't punt until the 3rd quarter.
Yes.
Roll down the field, settle for a field goal, roll down the field, miss a field goal, roll down the field, Henry puts the ball to a defender at the goal line. It was miserable. I know there's another reverse post-game win expectancy from the 1 o'clock window. I can sense it.
Are you guessing that it's the Minnesota Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals?
That could be one, but I think
That was Minnesota 48%.
okay, that doesn't really count. What about Seahawks Jets?
Oh, Seahawks Jets was not a reverse, I believe. Seahawks Jets was. Oh, no, it was. Yes, I'm sorry. That was 11%. 11% Seahawks. I missed that one.
You just didn't want to think about it.
One. Yeah. Second worst special teams game of the year, Seahawks.
But the Commanders a couple of weeks ago was number one.
The Titans against the Lions in Week 8 had the worst special teams game of the year.
And they fumbled another kick. The Titans fumbled another kickoff return.
Their special teams are very bad. But yeah, the Jets absolutely should have beaten the Seahawks. And Aaron Rodgers is who wants him as their quarterback next year?
Right, nobody. I can't imagine anyone looking at this. He's not good.
He's not good, and you don't want to. Why should you take? Why should you deal with all of Aaron Rodgers' media garbage?
Right.
For an average 41-year-old.
Right. An average and fading and a very touchy one. You get these 3rd and 3 situations where he just floats the ball over like Wilson's head or Devontae Adams' head. And I like down the sideline, like 25 yards. I'm like, is that your best call for 3rd and 3? And they just walk off the field and punt. It's regular. It's like 3rd and short is an unmakeable down for the Jets. And then yesterday, they had a 4th and 2 where they did the same thing. And like, this is a team with no offensive coordinator because, what's our signature play that we're going to run to get 3 or 4 yards? We're going to get somebody in space on a 5-yard pass, or we're going to maybe do what the Lions might do and run the ball. No, we're just going to heave it down the field. Yeah. And then Aaron Rodgers gives somebody a dirty look and shakes his head, and then we give the ball back. That game was hilarious, but it was brutal to watch.
All right, let's count up the weighted DVOA top 12. And as I pointed out earlier, Kansas City is not even in the top 12.
Shocking. They deserve it.
Okay, Houston, number 12.
Yeah, they nearly let that one slip away yesterday. Back Jones.
Washington, 11.
Good get right yesterday. Titans were very helpful with that.
Pittsburgh, 10.
Good win, weird game.
And that's a big difference between regular and weighted. They're 14th in regular, but 10th in weighted because the offense has been better since Russell Wilson became the quarterback.
Interesting. And the offense definitely was better. Tons of penalties in that game, weird penalties in that game. Obviously a pick 6.
I still don't feel, as much respect as I have for Tomlin and the job he's done this year, I still don't feel like the Steelers are a serious Super Bowl contender.
No.
He's done a great job this year.
He has done a great job, but we're 10 days removed from the loss in the snow to the Browns. Yeah. There's still too many weaknesses on the team, but they're a good team. They're going to be in the playoffs.
Number 9, the Chargers.
Okay. Again, weak game yesterday, but they're doing what they need to do.
Number 8, the Vikings.
Quietly just winning. And that wasn't a great performance yesterday, but they took care of their business when they needed to in the end.
Number 7, the Cardinals.
They're just not closing these games out.
Yeah. And number 6, I still can't believe they're here. We'll talk about them in a second. The Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still 20th in offense for the year.
Right.
But their offense has been better in recent weeks. And the defense and the special teams are really good. And so here they are.
And they play pretty good complementary football. They take care of the ball. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They, especially in the AFC, putting yourself in the position to win all the games you should win against all the joker teams makes you a playoff team.
Number 5 is Green Bay.
Really strong win on Thursday night. Just took care of business before I went to bed, which was like 9:15 p.m.
I don't think Miami likes cold weather.
I don't think so either. I don't think they like road games. They honestly don't play well on the road.
Number 4, Buffalo.
Buffalo's still below Baltimore.
And number 3, Philly. Philly is higher than last week and Baltimore is lower, but Baltimore still, because of the whole season, is a little bit higher than Philly. I mean, you ask me right now, who would I think would win if they played again? I would favor Philly.
Right.
But using the actual equation, Baltimore is still a little bit higher.
Okay. It just
And Buffalo is higher than Philly for the year.
Okay.
But in weighted, Philly is higher because their defense has been so good since week 7.
Right. A lot of the Eagles' problems are week 2, week 4. They're going into the rearview mirror. It's stunning that the Ravens keep holding serve that high.
Yeah, it really, like, even when they lose, their rating is not as bad as, like, for example, the Eagles had 65% post-game win expectancy. It wasn't like 99%. It was like 65%.
It wasn't a beating. It was the first game. Like, I was with DVOA on the Ravens until, like, the fourth quarter of that game. And then I was saying, you know what? The Ravens do not add up to the sum of their parts this year. It's just hard to get behind them.
It's been like this for the last couple of years, and I'm not sure what it is.
Right.
Because, again, like you would blame penalties, except in this week, it was not penalties.
It was not penalties. Lamar was fine in the pocket. It wasn't as well. Lamar did this. They couldn't make the plays on run defense when they have to. They did have some stalled drives, and Tucker is.
And Tucker is broken. And number 1, Detroit.
Oh, yes.
And that doesn't mean, you wrote in walkthrough today about the Eagles can hang with anybody. The Eagles are not. Like, I agree with you. Like, if Detroit and Philly played in the NFC Championship game tomorrow, I think Detroit would rightly be favored.
Right.
And I think that the Eagles would not be like, oh, well, the Eagles are not really, like, it would be 3 or 4.
Right. Also, if they played tomorrow, all those Lions guys are hurt. I would love it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. If the teams are full strength and the game happened, right, I think it would be, like a Lions -4, Lions -3.5, and I think it would be a good game.
But it's not like the Eagles are not in the same universe as them. At this point, the Eagles and the Lions are far ahead of the rest of the NFC, I think.
Right. And similar in that they get so much strength from their offensive line, from a run-oriented offense.
All right, Monday Night Football, the Denver Broncos and the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are in last place in DVOA.
Really?
But they would be 15 percentage points higher if you only counted the offense in games Jameis Winston played.
Deshaun was so bad.
Deshaun was so bad, right, that the Patriots were last. The Patriots had a good game despite losing. The Patriots passed the Browns. But if you only use the Winston offense games, the Browns are a lot better than that.
Right. Although I dare say the Winston offense games are not phenomenal games by any stretch of the
No, it's just Watson was so bad.
So bad that, like, I almost forgot he existed. I was almost in a blissful world where I didn't think Deshaun Watson existed, but he's still dragging down the Browns. Amazing.
If you look at the FTN Stats Hub for the FTN subscribers, Nix is average or a little bit below average in pretty much every split.
Amazing.
And I checked in particular Bo Nix against pressure because Cleveland has the highest pressure rate in the league, despite the fact that their defense hasn't been good overall. And Bo Nix is 17th.
Right. Nice middle of the pack. Good number for a rookie quarterback.
Yes, it's good for a rookie, and it's about average or a little bit below average, and that's how he is all the time. Now, the Browns are also really strong. Their run defense is not strong overall because they give up big runs, but their front is very good. They're number 1 in adjusted line yards, and the Broncos' running game is bad.
Yes. It shows some signs of life against the Falcons, if I remember correctly, but that's the Falcons.
So I guess this is all adding up to me saying I don't think that this is a guaranteed Broncos win, despite how much DVOA likes them better than the Browns, but I do think they're properly favored.
I think they're properly favored. I think the Broncos defense, Jameis is still Jameis. He's still got a 3-interception burger, chambered up anytime along the way. And he's facing a very tough defense. And I think the Broncos are a better, more balanced team. By the way, no weather in the forecast. The Denver Monday night game, but it's going to just be chilly and clear. But I'm leaning towards the Broncos.
And I will say the Browns are 29th against number 1 wide receivers, and the over-under on Cortland Sutton is 61.5.
Oh, I like it.
61.5 is the over-under on Cortland Sutton receiving yards.
Play it. Nix gets the ball downfield more, and he likes getting it on, like, in routes, 15, 20-yard in-breaking routes to Sutton.
Bo Nix is above average in how frequently he throws deep.
Yes. Lieutenant Beauregard sideways is sideways no more.
Yeah, it really was just the first 3 or 4 weeks, and then they've kind of opened up that offense.
Right. This is like a clinic. I don't know everything that Sean Payton did, but a demonstration of how you calmly introduce an offense to a quarterback where you don't expect much of them in these opening weeks. You don't throw too much at him. You accept the fact that you're going to have to grunt out wins if you do get wins, but you have steady progress throughout the year.
So we're both on Broncos -6.
Yeah. So this -6 is a little troublesome, but I think I'd stick with it.
Yeah. I think I would take the Broncos. It's not the line that I really would want to put money on, but if I did, I would take the Broncos.
Right. And I might do anytime touchdown scorer for the Broncos defense and special teams because I'm feeling a Jameis burger.
All right. That does it for Monday, the 2nd of December. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for listening. Of course, like and subscribe to the show and check out the Black Monday sale at FTN, which if I had done my research, I would have the code for you. But if you look on Twitter and Blue Sky, we have the code for 25% off of an FTN subscription for Black Monday. Hold on a second, and I can absolutely tell you what that code is.
That's right.
It is.
Okay. I was going to vamp.
BKVIP. Discount on all of our annual plans at FTN. BKVIP. So check that out. And we will be back Thursday to preview week 14 in the NFL. All right. Until then, thank you so much for listening. Mike, have a good week.
You too.
We'll talk to you all on Thursday. So long.